Good morning and welcome to my short clips on this particular devotional that I was able to share with my church family. And I figured I'd share it with the rest of you as well. A little clip that I showed not too long ago. I had a few people who said, I was waiting on you to post something else in the morning. So I figured I'll share what God gave to me to share. So I'll give it to you all as well. So I'll do an additional 3 short clips. Just kind of give you what I saw in this particular text. So Luke chapter 7, it is probably a familiar scripture, a familiar story, as most of us, especially women, we've heard this story. CeCe Winans has a popular song about the alabaster box and how that woman pressed her way through. So Luke chapter 7, verse 37 and 38 is what I looked at because it does go through 50, but I want to focus on 37. That's enough right there all by itself. So Luke chapter 7, verse 37. I'm reading the New American Standard Bible. I'm reading that version. I've learned through my pastor that it is more closely aligned with the original translation. So I appreciate him for sharing that. And that's the version that I like to read. So again, Luke chapter 7, verse 37. And it says, "And there was a woman in the city who was a sinner. And when she learned that he was reclining at the table in the Pharisee's house, she brought an alabaster vial of perfume." So picture the room. Jesus is at a table at Simon the Pharisee's house. For context, a Pharisee was a religious expert in first century Judaism who emphasized careful obedience to God's law and tradition. In the Gospels, you'll find where Pharisees are often the group that questions, debate, or challenges Jesus over Sabbath observation, purity, forgiveness, and basically his authority. So the text tells us, again, the setting is at a Pharisee's dinner, which makes the woman's entrance socially shocking. She's identified as a sinner, and her actions, her tears, her kisses, perfume, and unbound hair are public, vulnerable, and costly. The cost was social as well as material. She risked shame by approaching Jesus the way she did. And the perfume itself was extremely valuable, possibly because during those times, that type of perfume or ointment was worth nearly a year's wage. So it was both costly for her. And what I see in this text is while Simon views her based on her past mistakes, right? The scripture even calls her a sinner, doesn't even give her a name. But if you read further down in the text, you'll see that he views her based on her past mistakes, while Jesus sees her through the lens of her devotion and belief. Here, this no-name woman comes in. She's not polished. She's not even protected. And she's coming in not even pretending to be something she's not. She brings her tears, her alabaster vessel of perfume, and her whole heart to Jesus Christ. She does not try to explain herself to anyone when she enters. She simply comes to Jesus, and in that moment, love begins to speak louder than shame. It speaks louder than shame. And maybe that is where many of us find ourselves too. Not with perfect words, but with a heart that knows Jesus himself is still the safest place to come to. So we'll continue in this short series. I'll keep posting little things for the next 3 days after this one. But that is something I want you to think about. Do you realize he is the safest place for you? And the question we'll answer is, what will you bring? She brought herself. She brought many things, but what do you bring if you are in the presence, or when you are in the presence of God? Bless y'all.